Welcome to the Ben Gregersen Show. I'm glad that you're tuning in tonight. Sorry about the technical difficulties. But tonight, I really wanted to talk about Obamacare. There's a lot of things that bother me about Obamacare. One of the things that bothers me is the fact that Obamacare is going to end the full-time work week. There are businesses all over this country that are cutting people's work to part-time work. People with full-time jobs are now having their hours cut, and they're now working part-time in order to comply with Obamacare. And also, Obamacare, a business is only allowed to have 50 employees. So if you have more than 50 employees, you have to start laying people off. Otherwise, your business is going to take on all these new expenditures. And these expenditures are so expensive and so onerous that they could put you out of business. So these businesses, in order to survive, are laying people off so that they can meet that 50 worker requirement. It's terrible. It cuts people down to part-time work, and it's getting people laid off. You know, that's what Obamacare is doing for America. It sounds like a wonderful thing. I can't imagine anything that's worse, in a time when we're trying to, strengthen our economy, because right now our economy sucks. And we got this Obamacare thing that's just dragging down our economy. There's no way we could have a recovery with this law. I mean, this thing's getting people laid off. It's cutting people's work hours. It's terrible. And I believe we need to defund Obamacare. I'm going to say that tonight. We just need to not fund it. And there's actually a big fight in the Republican Party right now, because you got a lot of Republicans that want to defund it, and you got a lot of them that don't. And the ones that don't, they don't seem to be offering any other solutions. I think they're just being weak because they're afraid of a government shutdown. Well, you could defund Obamacare without shutting down the government. Obamacare is not the government. The government includes 1,000 other things. I mean, there's Medicare, Social Security, money that goes out to military veterans. The government is huge. Obamacare is just one part of it. And, defunding one program in the government should not cause a government shutdown. But see, the reason why Republicans are afraid of a government shutdown is because Obama is threatening one. Obama's saying, if you defund Obamacare, I'm going to shut the government down. And to me, that makes Obama look like a big baby. Republicans are worried that they're going to be blamed for a government shutdown. No way. All you have to do is pin it on Obama, because Obama's the one shutting it down. Obama's shutting it down because he's a big crybaby. If Obama doesn't get what he wants, he's going to make the whole country suffer. He's going to make veterans suffer. He's going to make people on Social Security and Medicare suffer. Obama is the reason the government would get shut down, because he's being a little baby. And he's saying, if you don't do things my way, I'm just going to shut the whole thing down. To me, that just makes Obama look like a big crybaby. He's just going to make people suffer when he doesn't get what he wants. Obamacare is not the whole government. You could defund that baby and the government would still be perfectly funded. So in the end, this whole argument is it's about Obama being a baby. I really can't describe it any other way. But the fact that we got a bunch of Republicans that are getting all weak because they're afraid of a government shutdown, dude, all you have to do is pin the government shutdown on Obama. Because in the end, it's Obama shutting down the government because he's a big baby. It's not really that hard to sell, because that's what's happening, So that's what needs to happen. We just need to defund defund this sucker and let it collapse, because it's terrible for the country. Obamacare is a disaster. I don't know how many of you out there know this, but the leading Democrat that wrote Obamacare came out and said that Obamacare is a train wreck, that it's terrible. And then this Democrat resigned. He felt so guilty about writing Obamacare that he resigned from Congress. He came out and said it was a train wreck, and then he resigned. He's gone. It sounds like a great law. I mean, Obamacare is such a great law that not even Obama wants to be part of it. See, Obama has exempted himself from Obamacare. He's going to make all of us be part of Obamacare, but he doesn't have to be part of it. And he's exempting Congress from Obamacare, and he's exempting government employees, federal government employees, from Obamacare. So we got the government that's going to make us be part of Obamacare, and none of them are going to be part of it. None of them want to be part of it. That's how terrible this thing is. And then we got all these weak Republicans that don't want to defund it. We need to defund Obamacare. And the people that don't want to defund it, I suggest that they start coming up with some other alternatives. Because right now I don't see them offering anything different as far as taking down Obamacare. I got one idea for them if they want to offer something different. Why don't they write laws that exploit the loopholes? Obamacare is such a mess. I mean, it is full of loopholes. Why don't we write laws that exploit those loopholes? If we wrote laws that exploited the loopholes, at that point, Obamacare could become a weapon against itself. So, why don't these weak Republicans that don't want to defund the law, why don't they offer something different, like writing laws that exploit the loopholes that could ultimately bring about the collapse of Obamacare? I'm going to switch subjects here tonight. I'd love for you guys to call if you have any thoughts about Obamacare and what we're discussing tonight, but I think I'm going to switch gears here to Benghazi, because some news has come out about Benghazi lately that I frankly find it quite scary and disturbing. Apparently, a whole ton of weaponry has disappeared from Benghazi. Air missiles and everything else have gone missing. Just totally disappeared. So those air missiles and those weaponry, they have fallen into terrorist hands. And the question everybody is asking is, how did the weaponry get there? There's all kinds of reports out there that the Obama administration illegally was running arms to the Syrian rebels. And the Syrian rebels have ties to Al-Qaeda. So we were actually arming Al-Qaeda. So in Benghazi, in this little consulate, the government was kind of trying to collect those weapons, trying to get them out of terrorist hands, and they were storing them there at Benghazi. So then, the night of the Benghazi attack, the terrorists stormed into Benghazi, killed 4 Americans, killed our ambassador, and they took the weaponry back. So now they got all this weaponry that has fallen into their hands, and I'm afraid that this is what the administration was trying to cover up, and it's scary. I think it's a frightening thing, and some people need to go to jail for this. And Hillary Clinton, she needs to be dragged back into the Congress, and she needs to be asked some serious questions, because she was directly asked about this situation by Rand Paul, and he asked her if there was a secret, gun running operation going on in Benghazi, if they were giving guns to terrorists, and she acted like she knew nothing about it. She says, I don't know, you might have to take that up with the CIA. She acted like she didn't know. So now that we're finding out that, yes, this did indeed happen, that there was Operation Fast and Furious going on in Libya, there's some serious questions that need to be answered. And for any of you out there that don't know what Operation Fast and Furious was, what that was is it was an Obama gun running program. See, our government was providing drug cartels in Mexico with weaponry. And then these drug cartels killed tons and tons of Mexicans with this weaponry, and then some of them came over the border and even killed our own border patrol agents. And it was a huge scandal. In fact, our Eric Holder, our Justice Department guy, he was held with contempt of Congress over this thing because he wasn't telling them the truth, and they knew he was being dishonest, and he wasn't providing them with all the details that they needed to conduct the investigation. So now we're finding out that there was kind of a Fast and Furious thing going on in Benghazi, and that's disturbing in itself because now we're finding out that we were arming terrorists, and that is not a good thing. And not to mention it's illegal. And the reason it's illegal is because this was being done without Congress's approval. See, arming the Syrian rebels is considered an act of war. And anything to do with war has to be approved of by Congress. So the administration can't be secretly giving weaponry to the Syrian rebels if they don't have Congress's approval. And Congress never approved of any of this. So the whole thing was illegal. And it's bad. I mean, it looks bad, and this is what the president was trying to hide. There's actually, I want to show you guys this video of, here, this is Greta talking to Chairman Issa about the Benghazi cover-up.
But he's the one who's blocking it. I mean, we can't find these survivors. I'd love to interview the survivors, but the administration is doing everything it can to hide them. They're dispersing them around the country, and of course, the CNN report shows that even CIA operatives who were there are getting intimidated from above,
including changing names, creating aliases. So you stop and think, what things are most calculated to get at the truth? Talk to people with firsthand knowledge. What creates the appearance or perhaps the reality of a cover-up? Not letting us talk to people who have the most amount of information, dispersing them throughout the country, and changing their names.
So what that video was saying is that there were survivors at Benghazi, and that Congress and the media have been wanting to interview these survivors and ask them what their story is. But the administration has changed their names and dispersed them around the country. In other words, our government is hiding them. To me, that shows me that there's a cover-up here going on by the Obama administration. Why would they be hiding the witnesses and changing their names so the media can't contact them? Hello, welcome to the Ben Gregersen Show.
Hi, Ben. How you doing?
Good.
This Cat in Pocatello.
Hello.
Oh, am I getting a lot of echo on my TV here?
Yeah.
Let me turn it clear down.
All right.
How's that? Okay, you were talking about the Obamacare, and I was listening to George Norrie, I think it was last night, and he had a nurse on that had been in Afghanistan, I believe, and she has been working on this for 16 years, but it's getting so bad that the veterans that are coming home are not getting their veterans benefits, especially the amputees and the ones that have been hurt. This is just an outlandish number. She said close to 10,000 of our veterans are still waiting for their veterans benefits.
Yeah.
Now, how screwed up is the government if they can't even provide care for our soldiers who are sent into battle, and then they can't even get their benefits when they've been injured? And you'll see that from the Benghazi, of course. They had a lot of injured people there. from the Afghanistan war, from the Iraq war, and I think she was in the Iraq war. She said she waited for about 14 years before she got her benefit. She was a nurse.
Yeah.
And so she's taken up this cause and trying to get the government to straighten their little act up. So I don't know what that has to do with Obamacare, but they are not, some of the amputees are not even getting the medical care that they've got to have.
Well, I'll tell you how it has to do with the Obamacare. It's perfect evidence that the government isn't very effective at doing certain things. In fact, a lot of things. Why do we want to put the government in charge of all these different aspects of our economy, whether it's healthcare or whatever else it is, when, everything they're doing is going bankrupt. None of it's being managed very well. Everything in the government is falling apart, so why do we want them to run everything?
It's just too darn large, isn't it?
Yeah.
They need to break that down and get the government out of it. My experience has been that you give it to the government and you get mistakes, a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, they're just not very effective. I think the private sector could do a better job than they can.
But then still it boils down to our veterans coming back.
Yeah.
And they're not getting the benefits that are owed to them.
Yeah.
Can you imagine having your legs blown off and not getting enough benefits to even have some artificial legs?
Well, and that's terrible. And
it is.
If you look at the government, there's so much waste. Just pointless things that they're wasting their money on.
Well, and I think Obama is contributes to that because he wants everything green, and that's just the way. Look at all of those towers in Idaho Falls. That's the wind towers that are supposed to be transmitting all this wonderful energy.
Yeah.
They can barely make enough energy to provide.
Oh, yeah.
And they're all subsidized.
Yeah.
All subsidized.
Yeah.
Obama, I've read 2 of Obama's books, and he says the dreams of my father. Well, his father was a polygamist. He was married to 5 different women, had about 7 children, never took care of a single one of the children, and went to all these fancy schools, Harvard in England, and married several women, but he never took care of a single one of his kids. Is that the dreams that Obama wants for us? I don't think so.
I hope not.
I do too. But
I do know Obama's father was also a communist.
Oh, his father was?
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was his mentor, that Frank Marshall Davis that was in Hawaii, his grandfather.
He was a communist too.
Oh, yes, he was raised. Obama was kind of raised in the pool halls in Hawaii, and his grandfather found him this guy called Frank Marshall Davis, who was a black man, and he wanted him to identify with that.
Yeah.
And that's the mentor. In fact, when Obama left to go to school in California, his last person that he saw was this Frank Marshall Davis.
Yeah.
Who told him to go to I think it was the Occidental College or something like that.
Yep, and Frank Marshall Davis, he was actually part of the Soviet Union.
Oh, he was?
And he was on a government watch list.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. The government was watching him. They seen him as a threat to the United States.
I didn't have that information.
Yeah, and he was Obama's mentor, so.
He was his mentor. And so that's the problem, is that the Obama ideas are just so outlandish, and he wants everything to go green and be socialist, and it isn't working.
Yeah, it's true. Well.
All right. Thank you, Ben.
Yep, have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye. You know, it's funny, she mentioned that book, Dreams of My Father. It's funny because Obama writes about a girlfriend in there, and last year we found out that that girlfriend wasn't real. Obama had an imaginary girlfriend in his book, and some guy really dug into that memoir, and he was a Democrat too, and really studied it, and he found out that Obama's girlfriend was fake. Hello, welcome to the Ben Gregersen Show.
Hello. I was listening about Obama. It makes me mad every time I think about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, You know, what burns me up is one of the most important decisions that have been made in America here, and we didn't even get a chance to vote on it.
Oh, on Obamacare?
Yeah, we never got to vote on something so important. We should have been able to, you know, the people should have had a say-so in what happened with their health care, not just have that taken away from you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I'll tell you, yeah, and I'll tell you one thing too. The way it was passed was kind of shady.
Well, yeah, of course it was.
It was kind of illegal. They didn't have all the votes they needed to do it because Massachusetts, they ended up electing a Republican, you know, to be in Congress or the Senate. I don't remember which one, but they didn't have the votes to pass Obamacare because of that. And they did some shady shenanigans to get that thing passed. Some things that most people are pretty sure were quite illegal.
You know, sign it now and read it later.
Yeah. Well, and that's true too. Nancy Pelosi said, we got to pass the bill so that we could find out what's in it.
Yeah. Yeah, that was smart, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, brother.
Oh, we got to vote for this thing and pass it. That way we can find out what's in it.
Yeah.
It's like, well, why didn't you read it?
Yeah. Well, you know, it'd be pretty simple. You know, if they would have done a few smart things along the way, like everybody that's on welfare, you know, if they had to pay a $10 copayment at least to go to the doctor, then that would be, you know, that would be more fair.
Yeah.
Besides that, they wouldn't abuse it because there's too many people abusing it, running to the doctor for, you know, for this one and that one, just any little cold or whatever, you know, because they can do it because it doesn't cost them any money.
Yeah.
So then they go and they do that, and the doctors, they can't make it on that kind of a situation either, you know. So actually, we've got a doctor in our family, and he's very upset with that situation because people just abuse it. And then every time they come into the doctor's office, you know, they're actually, by the time they get their shots and everything that they need, it usually ends up costing the doctor about $15 to $20 for an office call. They have to come up with the difference to pay the difference because they can't get enough money from the you know, from the check they do get from welfare. And if the person picked up the copayment, it would help.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, it's just part of the whole mess.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for calling.
Yeah, you betcha.
All righty.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Have a good night. Hello.
Yeah, I'm just going to ask you about Benghazi.
Yes.
What's going to happen if they expose this completely and they find out that Hillary was the one who caused those guys to get killed, and yet she's running for president? Isn't that gonna? She was the one in charge. Isn't she the one responsible?
Well, yes, she is, and the thing about it is ultimately it was either she wasn't doing her job, you know, or she knew, you know, the fact that she didn't know what was going on means she wasn't doing her job. But I think she did know what was going on the ground. Just everybody in the Obama administration tries to act like they don't know anything.
Well, you can't be in charge of that many embassies like she was and then pretend that she didn't know what was going on. She can't pass the buck down to lower management and have that fly. If she's going to run for president, you can't run on that.
No, and obviously she dropped the ball because there wasn't any security at our embassies on 9/11 of all days. And our ambassador was requesting for more security. He sent up a cable to Hillary requesting for more security, and it was denied. And then she said that she never saw the cable, but what's funny is we now know that her signature was on the cable. So unless...
I thought the Democrats cared about this country. Why? How could they let that vote for her? How come they're all rooting for her then? I don't get that. That doesn't make sense. You know, guys get killed and it's somebody's fault. Well, let's run him for president. You know, what is that?
I don't know. It's disturbing. And I got to tell you, I don't really know why Clintons are so popular. And the fact that Hillary is even eligible to run for president is beyond me, because she was actually kicked out of Congress during the 1960s because she lied under oath and all this stuff during the Watergate scandal and made up all these lies and stuff.
I don't know what's going on, but if people lost their reason, I'll let you go. I just can't. I can't get it into my mind and have it make sense. Thanks.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye. Well, lots of craziness going on in the country. I don't know. It scares me, but I really want to believe that better days are ahead of us, as long as we fight for better days. We need to fix some things and pass on a better country to our children. We need to create that brighter future. We need to go out, all of us need to go out there and work hard and just strive to have the best future that we could possibly have.